I never believed in ghosts, not in the way movies portray them at least. I thought of them as echoes, residual energy left behind in places where tragedy struck. But what I experienced last winter changed everything. I had been desperate for a break from city life. Work had drained me, and I needed solitude. When I found a listing for a lakeside cabin deep in the Montana wilderness, it seemed perfect. No neighbors, no traffic, just silence and nature. The owner, a man named Henry, was friendly but firm about one rule. No matter what you hear at night, don't go outside. I laughed it off, assuming he was trying to add some folklore charm to the place. The first few nights were peaceful, almost too quiet. The lake froze over and the snow fell in thick, suffocating layers. The isolation was intoxicating in the best way. Then, on the fourth night, I woke up to a tapping sound. It wasn't the wind nor the creaking of old wood. It was deliberate, rhythmic, and coming from the window beside my bed. My breath caught in my throat as I turned my head ever so slightly. A figure stood there. Not just any figure. A woman gaunt and pale, her long, dark hair clinging to her face. She tapped with her fingertips, her eyes locked onto mine, hollow and unblinking. My instincts screamed at me to move, to run, but my body refused. I squeezed my eyes shut and told myself it was a dream. When I finally dared to look again, she was gone. The snow outside was untouched. No footprints. The next morning, I convinced myself I had imagined it. Cabin fever, I reasoned. But as I stepped outside for firewood, I noticed something strange. On the window where she had been tapping, there were faint smudges. Not fingerprints, but handprints, elongated and smeared, as if she had dragged her hands down the glass. I tried calling Henry, but my phone had no service. The storm had knocked out the connection. I had no choice but to wait it out. That night, she returned. This time, she wasn't alone. There were more figures standing at the tree line. Tall, thin, motionless. Their faces were obscured by the darkness, but I could feel them watching. My pulse pounded in my ears. I barricaded the door, throwing the heavy oak table against it, and waited. At exactly 3:12 a.m., the tapping started again. Louder, more frantic. It came from every window at once, scratching, knocking, dragging. The walls trembled as if something massive was pressing against them. A whispering sound seeped through the cracks, unintelligible layered voices speaking over one another. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Morning came, but the dread remained. I had barely slept. I packed my things in a rush, ready to leave. As I stepped onto the frozen lake to take a shortcut to my car, I noticed something, shapes beneath the ice. At first, they looked like shadows cast by the rising sun. But they weren't shadows. They were faces, hundreds of them. Frozen beneath my feet, their mouths open in silent screams, eyes wide with terror. My stomach lurched and I stumbled back toward the cabin, horrified. That's when I saw it. My own reflection in the ice, but wrong. My mouth was moving, but I wasn't speaking. My eyes were hollow, just like hers. I don't remember getting to my car. I don't remember the drive back. But when I got home, I received a voicemail from Henry. I told you not to go outside. I never called him back. I never went back to the cabin. But sometimes, when it's quiet, I still hear the tapping.